Is the Maldives drifting towards political instability? Is there an attempt to overthrow the Muizzu government? We ask because of some recent developments in Mali. There are worrying signs and warnings from both the government and the opposition. They say attempts are being made to topple the government. And it began with President Muizzu himself. He said someone is trying to overthrow his government. Now, coming from the president, this is a pretty serious allegation. So who was behind this? Was it the military? Was it someone from the opposition? Or was it an insider? Well, Muizzu is pointing fingers at a bank, the Bank of Maldives, one of the largest banks of this country. Muizzu says this bank tried to stage a quote-unquote financial coup, and the opposition is pulling the strings from behind. The crisis began over the weekend. Cards from the Bank of Maldives suddenly stopped working. The bank suspended foreign transactions. It also lowered credit limits of customers. Basically, their debit and credit cards became useless overnight. So most international payments were blocked, and online foreign transactions were also affected. The bank imposed a cap on them. Do you know how much? $100 per month. That's the cap. $100 a month in foreign transactions online. That is next to nothing, especially if you're living in the Maldives, where the economy practically runs on the US dollar. Maldivians heavily rely on the greenback. The tourism industry has most of its transactions in the US dollar. It is more widely accepted than the Maldivian rupiah. And that's not all. Maldivians also pay for tuition, healthcare, and other expenses using the US dollar. So killing foreign transactions could cause serious disruptions and a lot of panic. Then why did the Bank of Maldives do it? The bank says it had no choice. It was unable to keep up with the demand. This year, it bought $60 million worth of foreign exchange, but the transactions were 3 times higher than this amount. So setting a cap was necessary. But Muizzu is challenging this claim. He says the bank had sinister motives and that some directors of the Bank of Maldives support the opposition. So they introduced these curbs just to destabilize his government. In fact, I have a quote from Muizzu himself. This is what he said. There is room to believe that this cap on spending was an illegal attempt to overthrow a legitimate government. An investigation has now been launched. Meanwhile, the bank has reversed the curbs on foreign transactions. This was after an intervention from the government. So is there any merit to Muizzu's claims? The MDP, for one, is calling them ridiculous. The MDP is the Maldivian Democratic Party. They were in power before Muizzu's rise. Now they are the biggest opposition party in the country. The MDP says Muizzu's claims are a distraction and that there is trouble brewing within the government. Look at their statement. This is the opposition statement. What we see are fault lines within the administration, that there is trouble brewing within. And we see a coup coming from within in the days ahead. So the MDP agrees that Muizzu could face a coup, but not from a bank or the opposition. They say his own government could turn against him, which makes one thing pretty clear. Irrespective of who the instigator is, there is trouble brewing in Mali. The government faces a threat. The economy is already on shaky ground. Mali's finances are in disarray. Credit agencies have downgraded the debt of the Maldives. Fitch has classified it as junk. Plus, foreign reserves are under stress. In the month of June, the Maldives had just 1 month of foreign reserves left. A few days ago, claims like these went viral. A news outlet said that Mali had run out of money and its foreign reserves were in the negative territory. The Muizzu government denied this report. But it's hard to ignore the fact that the Maldives is showing signs of financial distress. The IMF, for one, has warned them. That's the International Monetary Fund. They say, and I'm quoting, they say the Maldives is at high risk of external and overall debt distress. That's the assessment of the International Monetary Fund. The last thing they need is political instability. And the Maldives has a history of coup attempts. There have been at least 3 attempts to overthrow the government in the past, in 1980, 1983, and 1988. Maumoon Abdul Gayoom was in power then. The first 2 attempts were not significant, but in 1988, Gayoom faced a serious challenge. A businessman tried to overthrow him with the help of Sri Lankan mercenaries. Gayoom turned to India for help. And that is when New Delhi launched Operation Cactus. It deployed troops from all 3 services, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, to the Maldives. India sent troops from all these services. The Indian soldiers crushed the coup attempt. But that was in the 1980s. Today, the circumstances are very different. The relationship with India is very different. Both the ruling and the opposition parties are warning about a possible coup, and this should be a cause for alarm.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Obviously today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
We'll start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost.